going to be the only ones today, but you have some chat pods available. So what I'd like us to do first is go down to that black toolbar at the bottom of your screen, click on the chat button, and then make sure your menu is set to all panelists and attendees. So just click on that little blue menu and make sure it says all panelists and attendees. Then I want you to tell me hello in your favorite language. So just click on that chat pod, make sure that menu is set to everybody, and then tell me hello in your favorite language. All right, good to see you all today. Hello, Chris. Hello, Adrian. Jamie, hello. The Rotary Club of Rochester, hello. Also, if you have a different name you'd like me to use, go for it. Otherwise, I'm just going to call you the Rotary Club, which is very exciting for me. Lexi, hello. Howdy, Teague. Emily, hello. Alessio, hi. Yasmin, Chusama, good to have you here today. Hello, Brian. Hi, Heidi. Buongiorno, Alan. Hello, Carrie. Bonjour, Amani. G Doty, also, if you would like me to call you something other than G Doty, let me know, but we'll fluff back. And Yvonne, ciao, good to have you here today. Okay, so we found the chat pod, good work. Something to note about the chat pod. This is where, Greg, great, thank you. Thank you so much, Greg. So this is where you're gonna be able to answer the questions I'll be asking of you, access any resources we'll be posting, as well as sort of see the other stuff people are saying. So this is a good place for us to be publicly. If you're comfortable with that, you can ask your questions in this chat pod. Now, let's say you feel a little nervous. You want a more private place to ask a question. I want us to now go back down to the bottom of our screen and click on the Q&A button this time. So it's got like a little double bubble. I want you to click on the Q&A button, and then I want you to tell me how much time you've spent in your Box account. So just click on my Q&A button and tell me how much time you've spent in your Box account. And by the way, 0 time is fine. It's okay if you spent no time in your Box account. And in fact, that is some of the answers we're getting. Private Chatter says 0 seconds, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, about an hour, 5 minutes. Okay, yeah, bunch of zeros. Whole day. Cheers, Private Chatter. Lots of question marks. Maybe you don't know Private Chatter. Until now, never. Great. Well, we've got a lot of folks who are brand new today. This is exciting. Several hours, Private Chatter, very little. 20 minutes, not much. Yeah, several hours. So a bunch of us are brand new. And we're also seeing in the public chat pod, we've got Brian saying hours. Great. We've got Joshua saying about 10 to 20 minutes. So that's great. Now, the first thing I want to call out, we've got a pretty wide range of experience in here today, but most of us are just starting out. That means that no matter what experience level you're at, your questions are what are going to make this class the most specific for you. So anytime you feel curious about something that I'm covering, I want you to ask your question in either of these chat pods. The only difference with the Q&A pod is that it's more private. So when you ask me a question there, I'm going to refer to you as Private Chatter, but I'll still read it out loud for the rest of the class. Because we all benefit from everybody else, you know? We're all lifelong learners here. We want to see what other people are asking, so it's nice. Okay, we've talked chat pods, we've met each other. It's very wonderful. Now it's time to dive into this conversation. So let's get our hands dirty. Let's talk about what Box is in the chat pod. I want you to hop back into that chat pod. Let me know, what do you already know about Box? So it might be nothing, it might be a lot of stuff, but what do you already know about what Box is? Okay, so we've got and again, let me know if this you want me to call you a different name than this, but M Stalder says zilch, and I like it. It's spicy. My uncle says zilch a lot, so I appreciate that. Greg, enough to be dangerous. Oh, what does that mean? That's exciting as well. Yasmin, tool to save documents and share. Nice, great. Yeah, Rotary Club of Rochester, way to organize and share documents. Perfect. Teague, a file sharing and storage system. These are great. These are great. Amani, a content management platform. Ooh, getting fancy with me. Joshua, secure file sharing platform. There's more here, but generally that. Nice. Private Chatter, cloud-based storage. Fantastic. We've got, let's see, Adrian, Carrie, Chris, Lexi. Yeah, we're all calling out file storage, place to access stuff. I like that private and shared, Lexi. That's great. Alessio, of storage and sharing platform. And Dennis, works like Dropbox, but with better and other features. Yeah, okay. So yeah, just full disclosure, I used to work in higher education where we would use Dropbox, Google Drive, we really ran the gamut. OneDrive, we had shared drives for a long time. So I feel you, there's some similarities between Box and other tools, and there are going to be some differences, and we'll talk about them today. Yeah, great. And Brian, I'm an admin. I'm taking the class to help our users better understand Box. Brian, that's so proactive. Good work. Also, just so you know, and for any other admins on the line today, tomorrow at the same time, so 10 a.m. Central, we're going to have our Admin Essentials class. So if you haven't taken that yet, or you don't want to do a self-paced version that we offer, you can take a live training. It will be with me, so you get to hear my voice twice, and we'll go through all those specifics of the admin console. But for now, let's talk about what Box is. So you all gave some great answers. Now here's my marketing approved answer. Box is one platform for secure content management, workflow, and collaboration. It's very fancy, very nice, very stately, but what are the benefits? What are the specifics of using Box? I want us to dive into how Box is actually going to make your work life better. And the first thing I want us to cover is something that actually I think every single person brought up. It's that storage ability. So in Box, you have unlimited storage. You can keep as much as you need in there. And each of your files can be up to 15 gigabytes in size. So just for some context, that's like if you took 3 Star Wars movies and shoved them into the same file. It's really big, and it's actually going to help you get your work done a lot faster today. Next big benefit of Box is the ability to share. So I think Lexi mentioned this also, private and public. You are able to work both internally and externally in Box. And no matter who you work with, control stays in your hands. Very exciting. So we're going to talk a lot today about what it means to work with other people in Box and how we can specify our security options. Next big benefit of using Box is the ability to keep your teams up to date on your files. That is not as fancy as a sentence as everything else, but it is maybe the most important. And one example I can use to sort of talk about this benefit is that, so I mentioned that I worked in higher education. I don't know if you've ever known professors. They're not super organized, myself included. And so what we would end up doing is using email to share stuff, right? But I don't know if this sounds familiar to you. We would have lots of versions of a file flying around, right? We would have no idea like who made what changes. We wouldn't know which is the most recent. Then someone would send something to the wrong Luke in the wrong department. So now someone has it that shouldn't have it. We can't take it back. We don't know how to do the thing. Everything's a mess. It's a nightmare. With Box, all of that gets resolved. Everything stays in one place. It's easy to find. You keep your conversations on the file itself in Box where it's secure and you know exactly who has access to it. And Box manages your version history. So now your versions are all going to make sense. You can see who did what, and everything's going to be in the same place. We're going to look really in depth at what it means to edit files and look at version history and sort of utilize that a little bit later in the class. So that's why that one's my favorite. It used to be my living nightmare, and now everything's fine. It's just fine, you know? It's good to be fine. Last big benefit is the ability to access your content from anywhere on any device. So you can work on Box on your computer. You can also do it on your mobile device or your tablet. You can be walking your dog and still checking your work. And because Box doesn't require VPN to log in, stuff gets easier to access while still staying secure. So these are the big generalized benefits of moving to Box. We've covered that pretty thoroughly. Oh yeah, it looks like Greg is also a company admin as well, looking to see if this presentation is a good resource for new users. Great. Also, if any of you have any feedback at the end of class to how to make this a little bit more specific for your users, this is a generalized class, of course, but if there are things that you wish we covered, I'll definitely want to know. So you can just tell me in the Q&A pod at the end of class. For now, it's time for us to jump into our first demo time. So what we're going to do is first talk about how to log in, how to get into Box. Then we'll talk about what we're looking at when we log into Box, how to navigate stuff, upload, create things, and how to organize things so they make sense for us. Now, before I go any further, oh, Megan, great. We're streaming the class and have 12 viewers. Well, hello, secret 12 viewers. Good to have you here today. Now, before we go any further, I want you to hop into the chat pod and give me a quick yes or no. Are you logged into your own Box account right now? Now I'll drink my coffee while you answer that. Okay, getting a good mixture. It looks like a bunch of people are, a couple of us aren't. That's totally fine. Yeah, private chat are going to log in now. You can if you want. You can if you want, Adrian. You also don't have to. If you are somebody who just wants to watch me doing stuff today, that's totally fine. You can just follow along with me on your screen. If you are someone who likes to be more experiential, like you like to try stuff while the person who's teaching you does it, I recommend logging in because that means you can keep a window open and do some of the things I'll be showing you. So it's an option, it's not necessary. with that, what I want to do now is first talk about how you can log in. This might help some of you. So we have two ways to log into Box, generally speaking. We've got the Box web application and we've got Box Drive. Now, we're not going to talk about mobile well, there's just one other option, which is mobile. We're going to leave mobile out of this conversation for today. We're going to focus mainly on how we're accessing Box when we're when we're on our computers, for example. So when we talk about the Box web application, I want you to think of this as Box in your browser. So that means you hop into Chrome or Safari or Internet Explorer and you do your little login situation, maybe with a single sign-on, and you get into your Box account. Now, the Box web app is super in-depth. So when I'm in the Box web app, I can see who has access to what. I can see when my coworker changed something on my file. I can see what's happening across other things I'm involved in. I can organize things a little bit more specifically. A lot can happen in the web app. That's why in this class today, I'm going to spend most of my time in there. It's going to give me a better view of what's happening in depth in Box. Now, Box web app, great for working with other people. Like you can simultaneously edit with others. You can see what other people can do. Box Drive is Box for your desktop. And I like to position this as a great way to work on your own. So Box Drive, just as a definition point, streams all of your content from the web application down to your desktop. So it doesn't sync it until you start working on a file. It actually streams it, which is why you can see everything you've been given access to down here, just like you can up here. It's really helpful, right? So from here, you can create shared links, which we'll talk about in a bit. You can mark content for offline access so that if you don't have internet, you can still work on your files and those changes will save. But this does not give you the in-depth view that the web app does. Box Drive is kind of a limited view. It really does look like a file in your Finder Explorer window. So if you're working alone, this is great. If you ever need to work with other people, I recommend hopping into your browser. Now, you have private chatters saying whether in today's session or a future session really need help with mobile to get user adoption, people off Google Docs. Okay, so I hear you. First of all, I think you should know that Box and Google Docs have an integration, which is great because then you can work on Google Docs, but it still saves to your Box account. But for now, what I am going to do is I'm going to give you a link just right at the top of this class to our, we've got a page on our support page that has a link to a bunch of 6-minute videos that talk about everything you need to know. So there's including a video specifically on mobile. So private chatter, you need people to figure out how to use the mobile app. There is a video in here about the mobile app. There's also a video about using Drive. We're not going to spend a ton of time on that today in this class, but those videos are super helpful and they're all task-based. So they'll sort of talk about relevant integrations and other features alongside the one you need help with. So save that link. Go to it after class, send it around to all your buddies. You know, I'm sure all your friends are wondering, how do I use Box? So now you can help them. Let me know if you have more questions about that private chatter. For now, these are the two ways to log in. With that, I'm going to hop into my Box account. So as you can see, I'm in the Box web app. I am in a browser. I'm in Chrome and I've logged in. Now, when you log into Box, you land on your All Files page. Your All Files page is like your Box home page. So this is where you can see everything you've been given access to as a collaborator. Now, the first thing I want to mention about the All Files page is that my All Files page looks a little different than some of you. Now, Jaime is asking a great question. Is Chrome best to use for this? You can use Chrome, you can use Internet Explorer, you can use Safari, you can use Edge if you're really feeling it. I think with Edge specifically, there are some limitations that come up. And by that, I just mean there are some like visual features that look a little wonky, but your standard ones like Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, those are all great. They all work the same. So good question, Jaime. Thank you for asking. Now, I was mentioning that my All Files page might look a little different than yours. Like I have this color pane here. I've got this weird looking situation up here, lots of images that I'll talk about in a moment. I might have some icons that look a little different. That's because I'm in the new user experience. So just so you know, this is the new way that Box is going to look. Now in January, which is, I cannot believe I'm saying this, in literally half a month, all admins are going to have the option to adopt this look for their end users. So if you're an admin in this class, you'll have this ability in January. But by July, this is going to be the default. So regardless of whether or not you opt in, by July, everybody's Box accounts are going to look like this. For now, I'm going to show you some of the new things that come up in this new user experience just to help you get your landing a little bit when you end up opting in. So the first thing I want to talk about is this recent files carousel. This shows me all the files I've looked at recently. As you can see, I enjoy dog photos. You'll see why in a little bit. But from here, what I can do is click on the More Options button, and I get a lot of abilities to edit my file from right here. I can quickly make a shared link or share with a collaborator. I can even download. So if you're an impatient person, like I'm sure you can tell I am, this is really helpful. Now, there are two things that stay the same when you're in Box, no matter where you are. This side pane, which we call the navigation pane, and this top toolbar. So we're going to talk about the toolbar first. This clipboard icon is my task center. This is where I can see all the tasks that I've been assigned when I'm in my Box account. Now, I can manage this from out here, or I can actually use my task as a hyperlink into the object. Looks like I've got a task that is overdue. I'm getting some questions about whether this color is approved. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark as complete. And my task is complete. Yeah, Yasmin, can Box task be linked with Outlook tasks? Good question. So the task feature is a part of the Box user experience. This isn't something that can be integrated with other outside tools. This is really just for things you get assigned in Box. I'll show you how to assign a task in Box in a moment, but yeah, currently this is limited to just tasks with the specific task feature in Box. Now we also have this bell icon right here. This is our notification center. So this is where we get notified about anything we're involved with in Box. As you can see, I've been added to an image as a collaborator. I've been added to a folder called Spicy Friday. Why? Who knows? But I can, again, just see them here, or I can click on them and jump into the item itself. So all of these things operate as hyperlinks as well as just plain old notifications. Yeah, Greg, so with SSO, we only use Box Web. Do all users have the ability to use Box Drive as well? That's a good question. So when I work with customers, sometimes admins say, well, we don't really care. People can download Box Drive if they want. Sometimes, though, there are limitations. For example, if you are, like I've worked with banks that really don't like their end users downloading anything to their desktop, and Box Drive is a downloaded thing literally on your desktop. So it sort of depends on your company policies, what you're working with in terms of security, what you're doing with your Box consulting team. If this is something that you are interested in and you do have that ability, you can always download Box Drive by clicking on this icon here, your right-hand corner icon, and selecting Apps from that drop-down menu. I'm just going to quickly show you this because I think it's helpful and it's not something we talk about a lot. From here, you can see a bunch of stuff you might want to download, including Box Drive. You can also just Google download Box Drive and get there quick. So lots of options for you. But yeah, it's something that sort of just depends on your settings, your company, where you're at, who you work for. These are great questions, by the way. Yeah, no problem, Greg. And I was just going to say, you're doing a great job. Keep them coming. Okay, so this is the toolbar. That stays there no matter where you are. You just saw me hop around in folders, right? But that was still visible. The same thing is true for this navigation pane. If I am buried in client projects, client C, but then I realize I want to look at a file that's outside of this that I've viewed recently, I can come over to my navigation pane, for example, and click on recents. And that's going to show me the most recent 1,000 files I've looked at. Obviously, I haven't looked at stuff a ton recently, which is why my list is so short. Okay, so that's some stuff that we're looking at from the All Files page. Now let's talk about folder colors. It's a very exciting conversation. Now, I have 3 different folder colors available to me. We're going to talk about blue first. A blue folder in Box means that it's shared. So by the way, if you are colorblind or you cannot see color, I want you to look at the icons in the folder. A shared folder is going to have 2 people as an icon, so it indicates that it's shared. You can also tell a folder is shared by looking at the sharing pane. From here, I can see who's been given access to this all company folder. So for example, I can see Bonica is the owner. I'm here, this is my account, Bridget Hogan. I'm an editor. These are our permissions in this folder. Not gonna go into this yet, but we will in a moment. Just know for now that this dictates what we can do in this folder. So blue folders or icon people folders mean they're shared. Now blank or yellow folders mean they're private. So that means I've created this folder and I haven't invited anybody in yet. That's why when I look at the sharing pane, it's empty. All right, now I also have a gray folder. I want you to hop into the chat pod really quick and give me a quick yes or no. Do you see a gray folder on your all files page? So let me know real quick in the chat pod. Do you see a gray folder in your all files page? Okay, looks like Vincenta does. Looks like mostly we're seeing no's. Oh, looks like Kareem does though. So does Stalder. Yep. Oh, Yvonne, no folder set up in box yet. That's great. That's not a problem. You're doing fine. I like to ask this question because gray folders are interesting. Yeah, Michael, yes, shared to external users. Okay, so good point. A gray folder means that you have been invited into a folder that's owned by someone outside your company. So I've been invited into this folder by somebody who's outside my company. When I click into their folder, you're gonna notice, my branding changes. This panel became a different color. That also means that my security stuff is conforming to their rules. So when you are in an external folder that you've been invited into, you have to play by their rules. But here's the nice thing. When you invite external collaborators into your folders, they have to play by your rules. So this is one of the reasons that we can work with folks who have different compliance needs. This is one of the reasons we can work across the globe. You know, we've got GDPR in EMEA, we've got HIPAA here, like we have different stuff going on, but we can trust that when we're invited into content, we have to follow the settings that are set for that folder and for that company. Yasmin's asking a great question in the chat pod. If I share something with externals, do they need to have the box set up as well? Great question. Short answer, yes, but even shorter answer, there are ways to do that when you don't have box yet. So we're going to talk about that in a moment. We're going to do that during the sharing section. So stay tuned. And if I don't answer your question, re-ask it for me. Good thinking though. I like where you're going. Okay. So we've talked about folder colors. Remember, blue is shared, yellow is private, gray is shared, but externally owned. I'm reminding you of that because I'm about to ask you a teensy quiz. First, let's make a new folder. We're going to come up here to the new button and select folder from the drop-down menu. So nice, so easy. Now I'm going to make a brand new workspace, and we're going to call this 2020 is almost over. Hooray. Okay, now, small quiz question. I'm not going to invite anybody to this folder yet. When I click create, what color will this folder be? What color is this folder going to be if I click create and I don't invite anybody? Okay, I've got some yellows, I've got some pinks, some cheeky pinks. I've got a single pink. I think we were joking on that one. Yeah, we've got mostly yellows. Okay, great. So let's find out together, public and private chatters alike. Great work. It's yellow. You're right. Or blank for our colorblind friends. So that means that no one's been invited in yet. Good job, everybody. All right, time to bring some stuff in. Yeah, now Sarah's asking a great question. Is there a color for files or folders that are shared externally? Okay, so good question. We're gonna see this in action in a little bit. For now, know that anytime anything is external, anytime you're working with an external collaborator, that is, you are going to see a globe icon. So let's actually hop back out here. I didn't cover that icon for colorblind friends with the gray folder. Not sure, let me zoom in a little bit. Boop, 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 boop. I think you can see the gray, in the gray folder, we've got a globe icon. That same icon will be applied to any user's like name and icon whenever they're invited into something and they are external. So that's how you're going to know that they're outside your company. Good question. Okay, let's bring some stuff in. Now, when you are making a brand new folder, you can always use the upload button and bring in files or folders that way. If you want to start a brand new file, you can come over here to new and you've got some options here. So you can start a brand new Microsoft file from within the folder itself. If I do this, let's call this budget talk, whoop, spell it right, and I click create, what's happening is my Word desktop application is being prompted to open automatically. I'm going to be able to make some changes that will save right back up to my Box account. So let's just type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we'll click save. We'll click out of Word, and that's how we keep from having to upload every time. Like if we would just want to start something brand new, we can from within Box itself. there are my changes. But let's say we do have things we want to bring in from our desktop. Like I want to bring in this kickoff deck. I can just drag and drop into my browser, super easy. Yeah, Heidi, good question. How to turn a shared folder yellow. So that's a good question. I'm going to speak to you like a consultant, which is to first ask a question. Why do you need it to become private? Because remember, yellow folders are private. That means nobody else is in them. So for right now, for example, my 2020 is almost over hooray folder is private. I haven't invited anyone in. I would first ask, like if I wanted to make all company private again, I would first ask why, and second ask why, like, so to do that, I would need to remove everyone. So do I have the right permissions? It's sort of a longer conversation, but Heidi, if you want to send me more questions in the Q&A pod or stick around and ask more questions after the class about that, happy to answer them. For now, I would just first inquire why, and do you have the right permissions? Like, are you the right person to do it? If you have those answers, then we can maybe do some more stuff. Okay, so we have brought things in on our own. Let's say I want all of you to put things in this folder. I want to get submissions from you. I want you to send me one photo from your fall, but I don't want you to have access to this folder yet. What I can do is create a file request link. So when I click on that in the sharing pane over here, what I'm going to get is a secure link that takes me to a widget that looks like this. From here, you'll be able, when I give you my link, to drag and drop a photo into that widget and click submit. Once you do, let's refresh our page really quick to see that photo I just uploaded. Boop, boop, boop. There it is. Look at that. Brought it right in. So I'm going to give you the link right now in the chat pod. Please send in a photo. Send in a photo from your fall. Now, one thing I want to mention is that if I don't specify anything about my link, I'm not going to be able to tell who submitted it. I want to know which of you submit photos today. So I'll re-click on my file request link, come up here to settings above the copy button. And now I'm going to require you to log into Box. I'm also going to set an expiration date just to be helpful. Now when I click save, this is going to apply to anything moving forward that gets submitted into this folder. So if any of you decide to upload an image of yours like I just did into this folder, I'll be able to see who did it, which is great. It's very helpful for me. So this is how we this is how we create submission spaces. This is how we really easily get things from other people when we don't need to necessarily collaborate for a long time. Yeah, feel free to try that out. It's a newer feature, and honestly, I find that I use it a lot because I'm often working with submission folders, so that's just me. Okay, we have put stuff in Box. Now let's talk about how to find things. Your Box account, like I think a couple people said there are no folders in their Box account yet. So yours might look nice and neat. Mine is quite obviously a nightmare. This is a lot. So let's talk about how to use collections. Collections are going to be a new part of Box. They help you group like-minded content without having to physically move anything. So for example, I've got a collection rather, specifically for dog photos. These all live in different folders, but I can see, I can click on them and get easy access into them. So let's actually, to that point, go to our all files page and let's create a new folder or a new collection. So I need more coffee. New collection. We're going to call this guy relief. We're going to call it relief. We just feel relief. Now I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop my 2020 is almost over folder into that collection. Now remember, this navigation pane is always viewable. So if I'm in this development folder, for example, and I'm working on something and then I realize, oh, I need to get into that 2020 folder really quick, I can just come over here and click on my 2020 folder. Same thing for favorites. Favorites is a great way to group any content or document that you're going to work on a lot in the upcoming weeks. So let's actually just, I'm going to drag and drop this deck in here and add it. Oh, looks like we had some people add some photos also. Let's check them out. Looks like we've got A. Conan who added this, this Three Musketeers image. Nice. That's pretty descriptive of your fall. Jaime added your dog. Thank you for this dog. That's exciting. We love a dog photo. And in fact, let's add this dog photo to my dog photo collection. Boop, 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 boop. Just dragging and dropping. I'm getting some questions here. Rotary Club user, Super new user, great. Can you explain the advantages of collection over tags? Yeah, okay. So actually, collections work sort of similarly to tags. The only, can you search, let me quickly test something out. If I search dog photos, is it gonna work like tags did? No, okay, so with tags, you could search for a tag name and that would come up, right? Uh, but with collections, it's a way of keeping it organized on the left. So the difference there is like a tag will be searchable and it indexes content. A collection is a way of grouping content. So it's just a little different feature there. Tags are still allowable though. As you can see right here in search features, when I tried to search for dog photos, you can set your tags to come up. So there's two different features there. Yes, Sarah, would this be a good way for people who only have access to a couple folders within a large folder? Do people create collections of their own? Yes. Okay, Sarah, yes. So I created all these collections on my own. You don't share collections. They're just for you. They're like your own private way of organizing content. So it can be really helpful. Yeah, and Carrie, you can make multiple tags. Let's actually do that now. So I just clicked on the three dots beside the file title. I'm going to, okay, let's remember where it's located now. So you're seeing we can immediately add it to collections if we want, or create a new one from there. Do I want more actions? Aha, more actions, the dot, 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 and then come over here to add or edit tags. So from here, let's do dog photo. I'll click enter, that's one tag. I'll do canine, second tag, and I'll do, I don't know, friendship, third tag. I'll click save, and now that I've tagged this photo, we're seeing my tags show up. So multiple tags are created there. Now, when I search for dog photos in about 10 minutes, when these tags index, search is gonna bring up this photo no matter what. Yasmin, something went wrong with my submission. Cannot load something with your link. Oh, that's weird. You should be able to. So I might try refreshing your page just to try it one more time. Let me know if you're still having trouble in the Q&A pod. Before we move on, let's check out a few more photos just because I love this part. This is the fun part. Oh, look at that cat eating a lime. Having a nice day. Very foggy. That's very beautiful. Someone lives on a very nice farm. Love this, as always, of course, dog photos. And this is very cheery. Thank you, Storny. Thank you so much. This is an extremely cheery photo. Alessio, it's great. Okay, everybody, we have spent a lot of time hopping around in our box accounts. Now what we're gonna do is talk about sharing. We're gonna level up to this next conversation. Now, this can be a different conversation. So what we're gonna do is actually take a step back, and I want you to let me know in the chat pod, before you used Box, how did you share files with other people? So before you started using Box, how would you share files with other people? Okay, so yeah, we've got email, we've got Dropbox, SharePoint, MS Teams. Yeah, email, private and public chatters. Email looks big. Shared servers, Dropbox. Yeah, we've got OneDrive. Yep, we've got lots of Teams coming up. Dropbox as well. Yep. Print it out and pass it on. My personal favorite. This is super secure. We've used Box for years, and people still share attachments. I bet they do because it can be kind of a hard change. Change is hard. People have a hard time with change. Same. Which is why you're in this training, to help learn about change stuff. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, before I keep moving, those of you who are having trouble getting to my link, it's probably because I required that you logged into Box. So if you weren't logged into Box, you might have trouble. Yeah, I share, I manage, file server. Okay, so we have lots of different tools that we've been using. Now, email came up a bunch. So let's dive into email a little bit more. Let me know in the chat pod, what were some restrictions that came up for you when you tried to share a file through email? Yeah, we've got keeping track of versions from the Rotary Club. We've got file size from a bunch of people. We've got, yep, size limit. Not knowing what has changed, Chris, totally. Finding the email, Yvonne. Yeah, blocked, rejected, corrupted, Amani. Yeah, lots of problems here. We've got security issues. We've got file version issues. We've got size limit issues. Lots of problems. I bring this up now because Box is a way to resolve those issues. Number one, you're not going to be having any more problems with big file sizes because Box just lets you do that. Number two, you're also not going to be having any problems with who can have access or how to give access. You decide how to give access with sharing in Box, and you can also take away access again. And finally, remember, Box manages your version history. So finding versions, not so hard anymore. So with that, let's talk about the two ways to share with Box. You can make a shared link or you can invite collaborators. Now, as a definition, a shared link is a unique URL that gives the recipient access to a specific file or folder. Inviting someone as a collaborator is when you actually bring them into that content. Now, both of these methods of sharing work for files and folders. So we need a way to help us decide which is right for our situation. So what I'm going to do is give you an acronym called TAP. TAP. That stands for Time, Account, and Permissions. This is like a question guide to help you decide which method is right for your situation. So for example, first ask yourselves about time. How long do you need someone to have access to what you're sharing with them? Next, ask yourselves about accounts. Does the other person have a Box account? If not, how can you still work with them? And finally, permissions. What do you need the other person to be able to do with what you're sharing? So let's take this acronym and apply it to our two methods of sharing, and we're going to start with shared links. Now, shared links are a short-term situation. I don't mean 10 days versus 20 days. What I mean is the scenario is a one-off. So for example, when I do customer trainings that look kind of like this, I will send a shared link to everybody who's participating in that training. I don't need them to edit the file. I don't need them to have long-term access. I want them to just see the topics we'll be covering. So I send them a shared link. It's a one-off. Now, they don't necessarily need to have Box accounts, actually. You can make a shared link that is open to people who don't have Box. So this can be a good way to work with external parties. And for permissions, pretty limited what you can do here. You can preview and download, but that's all. Now, when you invite collaborators, on the other hand, this is a long-term scenario. So again, I don't mean 30 days versus 60 days. What I mean is the situation is a more long-term stable relationship. So for example, I was invited into that all company folder, remember? That's why it showed up on my all files page. And I was invited because I'm part of the company. So I need long-term access to that content. For accounts, you do need a Box account to be able to get into something you've been invited into as a collaborator. Now, that can be a free account if your external client doesn't have Box, or it could be a corporate account, but either way, you've got to be logged in. And finally, this is where we get more permissions. If you need someone to be able to edit, upload, delete, preview, download, all of that is collaborator territory. So these are the two methods of sharing. Now, we're going to put our little acronym to the test. What we're going to do is read through this example together and then use our TAP acronym to decide which method of sharing is right for our situation. If you have a vote already, don't give it to me. Hold on tight. We're first going to go through this together. So Tim needs to get 1,000 brochures printed for a conference. He wants to send the file to the print shop and he wants to track if the document has been seen and downloaded. One thing for you to know, Tim doesn't normally work with this print shop. This is kind of a one-off situation because normally he uses in-house publishing company, but everybody's working from home still. So he's got to use a Kinko's down the street that he's never tried before. So these are his objectives. Send the file to the print shop and track if the document has been seen and downloaded. So let's go through our TAP acronym. Let's do T for time. Does this sound like a short or a long-term scenario? Let me know in the chat pod real quick. Does this sound like a short or a long-term scenario here? Okay, I'm seeing short, I'm seeing super short in public and private chat. I agree, this is kind of a one-off. He has never done this before and might not in the future. So we're gonna consider this for now a short-term scenario. Okay, let's ask about accounts. Do we know if this local print shop has a Box account? Do we know that information? Okay, yeah, nope, don't know, no. Yeah, I agree, everybody. We don't know. They might, but Tim didn't ask. Tim's not on it. So we just have to, yeah, exactly, I'm a Stalder. We would need to ask them. And since we don't really know or have time to ask them, we're gonna put a big old question mark next to accounts. All right, let's do permissions. Does Tim need this print shop to do more than preview and download in order to print? Does he need them to do more than preview and download in order to print? All right, yeah, I'm seeing no's across the board in private and public chat, and Yvonne brings up a great point. Don't want them to make edits accidentally. Exactly. We don't normally work with this Kinkos. This is a short-term situation. We also don't know if they have box accounts, and that's what would be required to make any edits. So all we need them to do is preview and download. That's the safest amount of permission we can give them. Okay, everybody. So knowing all of those things, knowing this is short-term, don't know if they have an account, just need them to preview and download, which method of sharing should Tim use today? Okay, I'm seeing shared links in the public and private chat. Thank you so much. Let's find out together. Good work. That was unanimous. Everybody voted for shared link and you got it. Because it's short term, we don't know if they have an account, and all we need them to do is preview and download. Tim's going to use a shared link today. Good job, everybody. Okay, we've talked about when shared links make sense. Now let's make one. I'm gonna come in here to my 2020 folder, and this time I want all of you to have access to this new photo, which is from Heidi, and it's of a puppy. So what we're gonna do is make a shared link to this dog photo so you can all have access to it. Now I can do that from within preview mode. I can click on my shared link icon or my share button, or I can do that from the folder view. Again, the same options, shared link icon or the share button. Now, if I don't have this icon because I'm in the old user experience, which might be why might be another reason some of you are having trouble today with some of the things I'm trying to do, I'll just click on the share button and toggle this button to the right. Yeah, Heidi, I thought you might like that. I'm actually going to use my shared link icon because that will immediately copy my shared link to my clipboard. Now I can paste this in an email, a Slack conversation. I can say to my clients, hey, you've got access now. Check out this link. In this case, what I'm going to do is paste it in the chat pod. I want you to click on that link and tell me what happens when you do. So click on that shared link I just sent all of you and let me know what happens when you click on it. So what happens when you click on that link? Rotary Club, unavailable. Also true for A. Kainath. Let me know if I'm not calling you the right thing. Adrian, yes, I can't be reached. Alessio, same. Yeah, we're all having trouble. Okay, you did everything right. I tricked you. I just straight up tricked you. I knew you wouldn't be able to see it because right now, my access type for my shared link is set to people in my company. For me, what that means is anyone in my company instance can see my shared link, but none of you are in this company instance. You are all external to me. So right now, you're not able to see my link. Now I can change that. I can click on this menu and I can either lock it down even more to only invite collaborators or open up access to people with the link. People with the link is a public option. That means anybody who receives my shared link can take a look, including external collaborators. You're all external to me today, so I'm actually going to open this up. Now you're already seeing this globe icon again. Remember, it's external, so it says it's open to external people. That's why a globe icon shows up. I feel nervous about how open this is though, so I'm gonna come to the next menu and turn off downloading. I'm also going to come up here to link settings above the copy button, and I'm gonna set an expiration date. Burp, 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 let's set it for this Friday. That means that I'm not going to have to come in here and remember to manually remove a public link. So it'll do it for me. It'll take it away. Now I want you to refresh your page. You're going to be able to see my file now. You're not going to be able to download, but you'll be able to see the file. And that's because all of my link settings apply to the shared link. Now I'm not going to resend the link to you. You can actually just refresh the page or use my old link. That's because shared links in Box are persistent. They always refer to the most recent version of the file and the most recent settings I give the link. So that means I can move this file to a different place. Let's move it to my all files. And nothing's going to change about the file or the link. Let's show it. So it's on my all files page. You can see it out here. Boop. Where is it? There it is, but my link is still there and so are my settings. Yeah, now it's okay, Alessio. Perfect. So this is how we're able to use shared links and just send it one time and then make the edits we need to make as we go, trusting the link will still show us the most recent version as long as that link is live. By the way, to turn off a link, you'll just click on the link icon right there, and you can toggle to the left again. That will remove the link entirely. Okay, one more thing I want to show you about shared links. So I sent this out to all of you. Now I want to see what's been happening to my file since that link has been active. So I'll come over here to my details pane and scroll all the way down to view details. This is going to show me access stats. It's going to show me who's looked at my file, what they've done with it. So it looks like everybody has previewed it, and that makes sense. I turned off downloading. I can see that Heather and Heidi have been in here, and Alan and Carrie. But I'm also getting, wow, some IP addresses from someone in Germany. Exciting. Switzerland, great. So this is because these people are not logged into Box right now. But Box still tracks those IP addresses. And if you're an admin, you can run extensive reports on what these IP addresses are doing in your instance. Okay, yeah, so how can you share one file in your private folder, the yellow one? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That is actually where we are headed right now, So what we're going to do is talk about inviting collaborators. Now, what we're going to do first is look at a scenario really quick, but you're going to tell me why the answer is invite collaborators this time. So to start our conversation about sharing files and folders, I want you to read through the scenario, remember TAP, time, account, and permissions, and then let me know why the answer is invite collaborators. So let me know in either chat pod. All right, let's check in. Yeah, I'm seeing some great stuff. I'm seeing, yep, we've got more than needing to preview and download. We've got editing, teamwork. We've got, she's part of the company, so she has an account, I guess. Yeah, Yasmin, totally. She needs them to have Box accounts to do the stuff they need to be able to do. It's ongoing. Nice, Adrian. That's a great word for that. Yeah, Yvonne, same. Ongoing, have Box, need editing. Teague, people need to make changes and share with outsiders. Long-term editing. These are great, everybody. Yeah, private chatters, they need to be able to share. Nice. Anytime you see words like share or edit or upload or provide feedback, those phrases indicate a need beyond a shared link. So we got to do more than preview and download. You need Box accounts to do more than preview and download. And this is an ongoing or long-term relationship. Good work, everybody. Now, before I keep going, I think the Rotary Club asked, is there any instance when a link name will be changed by Box? And the answer there is no. Nope, you control the link name. Now, one thing I do want to show you really fast is that if you go up to link settings above the copy button, you can, well, other people can, depending on your admin decided account settings, you can sort of choose a custom URL link. So you, instead of having sort of this, it's like long jumble of letters and numbers, you can come to link settings and make this specific. So you could be like, mine would be trainbdemo.app.box.com/dog photo. Now, the only thing about doing that is that making an easily guessable URL does open you up to other people being able to see it who you might not want to be able to see it. You know what I mean? Like, people can't really guess a jumble of numbers and letters as easily as they can guess dog photo. But it is an option if your admins allow that. But Box will never change the name of your link. You decide the name of your link. Hope that was helpful. Okay, so we've talked about when inviting collaborators makes sense, that ongoing feedback-oriented scenario. Now, before we invite people, what I want to do first is talk about what happens when we invite someone as a collaborator to a file or folder, because for those of us moving from shared drives in particular, this is like a new conversation. So let's start at the basics. You got 7 options when you're inviting someone as a collaborator in Box. You can give them all of the permissions, you can give them none of the permissions. Regardless, when you invite them, what happens is, like water in a waterfall, permissions move downwards. So let's say that I am Sandy. I manage the EMEA marketing team, and I need to be able to do a lot of stuff in all of these folders. I have to manage them. I have to invite people into the folders, edit content, delete things, view stats, set settings. I got to do my thing. So I'm going to be invited as an editor to the vendors folder. When I am, like water in a waterfall, my permissions move downwards. So if I'm an editor at the top, I'm an editor all the way at the bottom. Now, some of you are already thinking, well, can I break permissions? Can I like be an editor up here, but a viewer down here? And the answer is no. Can you break water? Can you break water? You can't break water. That's not possible. So to that point, let's talk about when you need someone to have specific access. I'm working with a client from the Increo team. I obviously don't want them to have access to the Acme company's information. That is bad. So what I will do instead of inviting them to the vendors folder is invite them to the Increo folder. Now let me know in the chat pod, if I invite this client to the Increo folder, how many total folders will they have access to? So if I invite them to that Increo folder, how many total folders will they have access to? All right, I'm seeing fours across the board. Yeah, I'm seeing just fours. Strong. Let's find out. Good work. It's 3 plus the Increo folder, or 4 total. Okay, you've passed all of my quizzes, so I'm going to give you an unfair question now. It's not fair. We haven't talked about it. If I invite this client to the Increo folder, will they be able to move sideways and use the search bar to see or search for any of these Acme folders? Will they be able to use the search bar to see or search for these Acme folders? Yeah, Felisa, I hope not. Yasmin, it should not work that way. Private chatter, I hope no. Okay, some people saying yes, also some people think maybe. Okay, remember this is an unfair question. We haven't talked about it. So all your guesses, great work. Let's find out. Yeah, Amani, you're on it. They're not shared. So here's the great thing about Box. Box only lets you see and search for what you've been given access to. Now, this client has only been invited to this folder, so they can only search for this content and the stuff below it. This is what's different than a shared drive, right, or other tools. In a shared drive, you can search for these folders, but you can't see the content in there. In Box, it's invisible to you. That's why we can work with lots of clients and trust that we're inviting people into the right place, and we can take them out again if we did it wrong. So there's a lot more room for us to make things tight and secure in how they should be. Okay, time to invite people. It's time to get in there. So what I'm going to do is come up here to 2020 is almost over, hooray. And I'm going to click on the share button to invite other people into this folder. Now I'm going to invite my colleague first. Because my colleague is in my Box instance, which means she has a Box account in the same instance that I do, Box already knows her information. So it fills it out for me, very helpful. But it doesn't know my external collaborator, Mark Jones. So I'm going to invite him by typing in his email address. Again, you're already seeing that globe icon. He's external. Now it's time to decide their permissions. So I am going to decide from all of these. Now, the things I need them to do are edit and upload. So I'm going to stick to these two, because let me give you a tip. You don't want to make someone external be able to manage security. That's horrifying. Both of these are fine options, but one thing you should know about editors is that they can also invite other people into the folder. They can also do some other intense stuff. That's not what I want for Mark Jones, who's outside our company. So when I'm bulk inviting, I stick with the lowest possible permissions. I'm going to choose viewer uploader. So I'm going to bulk invite both of these people as viewer uploaders and click send. Now Bonica and Mark are both in my folder. Now private chatter is already asking, can you change permissions per collaborator? Yes, you can. I want to promote Bonica. So I'm going to click on these 3 dots beside her name and promote her to editor. Just like that, super easy. Now I can customize everybody's role so it fits what they're doing on the team. Now private chatter is asking, so you would send 2 different links of 2 different levels of permission. You could, or you could just do what I did. You could bulk invite people and then specify as you go on the right-hand side. Now, something I want to call out, Mark Jones's name doesn't look like Bonica's. That's because he doesn't have a Box account yet. So his status is pending. But when I invited him, he got sent an email with a link to make a free Box account with that email address. Once he does, he'll get a notification in that Box account that I invited him to the folder, and he'll see the folder show up on his all files page. Okay, so we have talked a lot about sharing. We've got a couple minutes left. So what I want us to talk about are ways to work on projects. This is probably going to go till 2 minutes after the top of the hour. If you need to leave at any time, 2 things I want you to know. Number 1, we have a self-paced version of this course. You can take this in a self-paced way and revisit this information. We also have all of those quick 5-minute videos that cover this information as well as other integrations. I'm going to repost that link. Just visit that to sort of refresh your memory. And one more thing I'll tell you, we are actually going to start offering on-demand recordings of our User Essentials training in English, Japanese, Spanish, French, and German. That's going up this week. So if you ever want to revisit a recording of this exact curriculum, you can do so, and you'll be able to listen to my colleague Jamie, who is Irish, and an extremely good time. So just wanted to mention that. And now I'm going to talk about working together. But before I do, I've got some questions coming through. So Hau, I am with PC without the directory, my collections, why? Okay, so Hau, remember that collections are part of the new user experience. You might not actually be in this yet, which is because not all admins have the option to opt into this view. But this is what you will be able to switch to in January. So in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever time is, when we're in January of 2021, you'll be able to make it look like this and have these features. Yeah, no problem. Happy to revisit that. Private Chatter's asking, say you want a team member to download the file but not make changes, only make comments, which will be retained with the file. Is there a way? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let's say we're in your scenario. I'm in this folder, and the only people I want to be able to make changes are me. But I do want other people to be able to download the file. What I'll do is click on the 3 dots beside Budget Talk, and I will click on the lock button. We're going to set it for unlimited, and I will lock this file. What this means is that because I've locked the file, nobody else can make edits to it, but they can download still. So they'll still be able to view it and download the file. So that's one way around that issue, Private Chatter. All right, so yeah, Carrie, to confirm, collections are personal. Yes, they are. Collections are just personal. I make them for myself. Nobody else can see my collections. Now, let's say that we want to edit this file. We've got a lot of different integrations with Box. You can do a lot of different things, but the 2 main ways of editing are Box for Office Online and Box Edit. The main thing to know about both these options is that Box for Office Online only works for Microsoft files and will let you simultaneously edit with somebody else. So let's say I'm in this file and I want to make changes at the same time as a collaborator. I'll click on this online option, and it's going to give me a browser view of Microsoft PowerPoint where I can make changes to my file. And if someone else comes in here at the same time, I'll see their icon here. I'll see what changes they're making. It'll also auto-save for me. So Microsoft Office Online auto-saves. You can see that right here, save to Box, it just saved. Every time it saves, it makes a new version. One thing to know about Microsoft Office Online, it moves a little slow. So it takes a hot minute to catch up. That's why my changes haven't immediately come up here. That's because it's still indexing in Box. But I can see that someone else is, or that I can see that people are editing with online when I see this little pen icon. Now let's say that I'm just gonna work on this Budget Talk document. When I'm working alone on any file in Box, I'm gonna lock it. I'm gonna click on this 3 dots here and select the lock button. That's what's gonna keep other people from coming in here and editing at the same time, which is important for Box Edit. Box Edit is only for working alone, so you gotta lock the file first. But what's great about Box Edit is that it lets you change any file you can change on your own computer. So if this were an InDesign file and I had InDesign on my computer, I could choose Box Edit, and that's the option. Or I could use Box Edit to use InDesign and make those changes. So let's actually make a few more changes. I love this file, and click Save. I'm gonna get out of Word. And in a moment, Box Edit's a little quicker than Microsoft Office Online. So I'll see a refresh banner. There it is. And there it is. There's my change. Yeah, okay, so Palisa, are documents and collections duplicates of docs and files? No, they're not duplicates. So let me come in here really quick. And I know we're running out of time, so this might be the last thing we cover, and then I'll open up the floor to the Q&A period because I'm seeing a lot of questions come through. Collections are ways of grouping it. So this is the original file that I've grouped. I haven't physically moved it though. What I'm doing is creating a way of organizing it so that I can hop in. But notice that it's staying in this folder. I didn't move it physically. So my friend Alan, hello Alan, good to see you. I have just grouped it as a collection. So I haven't moved it anywhere. I haven't physically changed it. I haven't made a duplicate. I've just grouped it, and you can see it. It looks sort of like a tag. They function, they look like tags. They're just not quite the same as tags because tags can be searched in the search bar. All right, I'm seeing lots of questions come through, but I want to be mindful of your time. So what I'm going to do really quick is wrap up our formal time together, and then I'll keep answering questions until 15 minutes after. So first, what I want to say is a huge thank you to all of you for being here today. You did a great job. This has been a super interactive class. It's been really fun for me. I have a better time when people ask questions. So I liked it, and I hope you got some stuff out of it too. When you need help, I want you to visit our support page. I know I've sent this link several times, but I'm going to resend it one more time. This is that article that shows you all of the different links for our quick 6-minute videos. We've got stuff on how to use collections if you have more questions, how to use our Zoom integration, how to deal with Box Drive, how to run meetings when you're far apart, all kinds of stuff. So visit that page and check out our videos. They're super fast, and they have all of my teammates doing the voiceovers, so it's fun. If you're interested in more classes, starting in January, we are going to have consistent timing for the first time ever. So every Wednesday at 10 a.m., we will have this class again. Oh, sorry, every other Wednesday, we'll have this class at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. We also have our Admin Essentials class at 10 a.m. on Thursdays every other week. So if you're an admin, come check us out. And by the way, if you are interested in more opportunities to learn, we are revamping our entire offerings. So they're all going to be free, and we're coming up with like 36 new modules in the next 2 months that you can take in a self-paced way and get certified on. So if you are interested in really pushing your box knowledge, that's going to be there for you. And with that, everybody, I say a huge thank you to you. This is the end of our formal time together. I'm now going to open up the floor to a Q&A period. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Alan. Thanks for coming, Yasmin. I'm so glad, Greg. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Dennis. All right, let's revisit some questions. Awesome, Lexi. Have a good one. Okay, what we got? Okay, so M. Stalder, when I lock a file and edit, do I have to unlock it? So good question here. Let's see, it's going to be hard to find. This is the problem with naming everything the same thing. Don't be like me. I'm going to hop into my folder again. Now, remember that I locked this for an unlimited amount of time. Let's actually unlock this for a moment and relock it. When you lock a file, you're actually going to have the ability to adjust the timing. If you want it to time out on its own and not have to come in and remember to unlock it, you can just choose a time that's appropriate for you. If you set it for an unlimited amount of time, you are going to have to come in and unlock it. But now, because I set this for 5 minutes, in 5 minutes, it's going to unlock for me. And by the way, if someone has ever locked a file in an unlimited way, or you need to get into something, I recommend coming to the comment section and first figuring out who locked it. So just hover over that lock icon. Oh, there we go. So it was locked by me. I'm going to @mention myself. @Bridget. I'm going to type that @ symbol and then my name. Can you unlock, please? And I'll click post. When we @mention people in the comments, what we're doing is sending a notification to them. So in that bell icon up here, I @mentioned myself. I also got sent an email. So this person has been pinged to come in here and unlock the file again. Let me know if you have more questions about that. Okay, if you lock a file, can the user still make comments but not edit the file? Yes, Greg, I hope this answered your question. I just left a comment even though the file was locked. Boop, 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 boop. Let's see what else. Okay, if not everyone has a Microsoft license, Sarah, is there a way to collaborate in a doc at the same time? The Google Doc integration doesn't have all the same functionality. That's true, it doesn't. Okay, so one thing I can tell you, Sarah, if people don't have Microsoft licenses, one tool that I use to get around that is a box note. So I'm gonna click on the new button and select box note. This is a pretty simple document that my team uses, I would say 5 times a day. We use this a lot. What it does is let us create a document where we can work at the same time. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm going to invite my colleague Vincenta in here. So I'm gonna go vlicata@box.com. Click send invites. So in a moment, Vincenta, if you're still on the line, you can hop in here and edit with me. I'm just going to call this meeting notes and start setting this file up. What I can do is say, I can make like a chart, make a little checklist. Aha, Vincenta's in here. You can see that. You can see her icon moving around. We can type in our names, make little checklists. I can see the edits she's making at the same time, which is great. So Box notes are a good way to get around that when you need a simple document that lets you do stuff. Now, box notes are like you can use Microsoft Online with Excel. Box notes is not a replacement for Excel. But if all you need to do is have a space where you can work at the same time, this is a good get around. Thanks, Incentive, for playing along. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Okay, Greg, looks like I answered your question. Awesome. How are versions of the document saved? If you download a document, does that break the syncing of the document? Good question. Let's come in here to our budget talk. So you're probably noticing we've got this green bar here. It says it's got the version number. We also see what version number we're on in this corner. Now I'm going to click on this green bar, and this is where I can see all the versions that exist of my file after I uploaded it or created it. So here's the original. It says who made these changes as blank. Here's my second version that just has the numbers, and here's my current version. Now the current version will always be at the top. It will be marked current, and that's where your shared link will always point. But to Jaime's point, can you go back to a previous version of a document? Yeah, let's say I don't like this. This is super unprofessional. What are we doing? I'm going to click on the 3 dots beside the second version and select Make Current. It's not going to delete anything. It's going to add to the stack. So I'm seeing version 4. Here's my third version with I love this file on it. And here's my current version now, which no longer has that phrase. So I can hop around between versions to see how they changed and then come back out again. Good questions about that. Yes, Sarah, can you use a box note on mobile? Yes, you can. Box notes are usable across all devices. So which is great because then it doesn't really limit how you're working. Okay, Brian, not a question, just advice for any admins who need to move from a shared drive to Box using FTP. We notice that dragging and dropping large files and folders takes a long time and will sometimes not copy all of the folders, files, and docs. Okay, Brian, I'm going to give you my general answer here, which is that if you're migrating anything big, I recommend working with Box Consulting if you're not already. If you have like a CSM from Box or you're working with anybody from Box, I would ask them for their advice because anytime we're working with big stuff, we don't want to miss things, and doing it on your own can be really tedious and hard, to your point. So I recommend going to our support page if you don't have someone you're working with at Box and figuring out who you can talk to in there. Just submit a ticket and someone will connect to you. Okay, M. Stalder, yeah. Can there be up to 1 million versions when I go back 3 years? Okay, so this is dependent on your account type, which is something that your admins decide when they're setting up your accounts. Typically, end users can see up to the most recent 100 versions. So what that means is, I click on this guy, I will only be able to see up to version 100 before it starts deleting from the very bottom. So if there are versions you want to save for yourself, just as an archival purpose, you can click on the 3 dots beside the version and then select download. This is honestly something I do in my own Box account because I'm trying to start doing multiple ways of archiving my content. So I will download a different version at a different point in its history just to have it, just to have it. It's good to have it. Okay, Yvonne, given that Box has unlimited storage while our local computers don't, will we have issues, example, syncing if we have limited computer space? Good question. Okay, so no. Remember when I was talking about Box Drive and I said that it streams your content? I don't know if you remember this title, but we used to have a tool called Box Sync. That literally synced your files. That brought down local copies from your Box account to your desktop. That, to your point, took up a ton of hard drive space. The benefit with using Box Drive is that it streams. It's only bringing down a local file when you actually click on it to work on it. So right now I can see my whole account in my demo account. I can click through here, but when I double click on this PNG, that's when it's going to bring down a local file. So that's the only thing that it's bringing down to my hard drive. That's why if you have limited computer space, you actually don't need to worry about Box Drive at all, because it's only going to bring down actual objects when you're working on them or trying to view them. Let me know if you have more questions about that. Let me see what other questions I got coming through. All right, private chatter. How do you get rid of the red exclamation points in Box desktop app and avoid this happening in the future? All right, yeah, let's go back into Drive. So I'm guessing that you, how are we gonna talk about this? Well, let me start over. Okay, you get a red exclamation point in Box Drive when you try to do something that you're not allowed to do. So for example, get started with Box. I don't think I have editing access in here. So let's try to drag and drop something in here. Am I gonna have a problem? I've got this orange guy that says it's in the process of doing it. I think oh, dang it. I'm an editor in there. Okay, let's pretend I wasn't and I got the exclamation point. That means I don't have editor permissions, which means I can't upload something. So that's what's happening there, which is why whenever you're in Box Drive, it's kind of hard sometimes to see what's happening on the back end. So if you're ever curious about why you're getting an error, just right click on something. By the way, you're seeing a lot of options here. You can create a box note from Box Drive. You can create shared links, but you can also view on Box. And clicking that is going to bring you into your Box account in your browser, where you'll be able to look at your permissions and understand in a more in-depth way why you're having issues. So let me know if you have more questions about that. Private chatter, if somebody's leaving the company, is there a possibility to exchange all access with a new person? Yes, that is something your admin will worry about. So if you are the admin, come to my class tomorrow. I'll literally show you how to do that. Private chatter, when my manager sends me links, I get the same error message until she does something and resends. When you change your file to global, I still could not access. Is the issue because I'm a contract employee with my job? Okay, without being able to look at your account, I'm gonna make some guesses here, private chatter. So some things that might be happening, you couldn't access my public link? That's weird. That sounds like a firewall issue, actually. That is curious enough, and I can't really super help you out with that without looking at your account, private chatter. So what I want you to do is go to support.box.com, and I want you to open a ticket. Support.box.com. Just go to that URL and then go to the help section where you'll be able to open a ticket with our product support. They're lovely. They'll be able to help you figure that out. I'm guessing it's a firewall issue because anybody should be able to look at my public link, regardless of whether they're a contract employee or they have a Box account or who they are. So I would open a ticket on that one. That's an interesting problem. All right, Palisa, sorry, this is really basic, but how do you create Box Drive that was on the desktop? Oh, not a problem. Okay, you can either do the thing that I do all the time, which is just Google search, download Box Drive, and it'll bring this up for you. Or you can come up here to your logo in the right-hand corner, your little icon, and select Apps. Once you do that, you're gonna get a page that looks like this, and you'll see Box Drive here. That's how you can start downloading Box Drive. So a couple ways to do it. Also worth checking in with your admin or someone who manages your Box accounts or someone who manages your folders, just to make sure that's something you should be doing. I know I've worked with customers before who don't want people downloading stuff to their desktop. It's like a security issue, mostly government organizations and some banks sometimes, but it's always worth checking. So also a good thing to wonder about. Okay, I'm gonna hang around for one more minute and answer more questions before I'm gonna sign on out. So if you have any lingering questions, now's the moment. Also remember, this is gonna be a regular class happening every other Wednesday at 10 a.m. starting in January. So if you ever wanna take this again, you can. Thanks, Jaime, I'm glad you had a good time. Hey, Belisa. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you want to go to the class again, you just sign up because that's what's going to send you the calendar invite. And I live and die by my calendar. So just sign up through Box University like you did before, and you'll be able to take this class again. It'll cover the same information as a heads up, but people's questions make it different every time. So so there's like going to be some variance, but some of it, like you're going to see some of the same content I was covering. Just wanted to let you know that. Oh, yay, Carrie. I'll see you tomorrow then. See you in Admin Essentials. All right, and I'm not seeing any other questions come through, so I'm gonna go ahead and close up shop for the day. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. You did a great job. I'll see you around, and good luck out there.